Hannah.
Yeah.
I think my brain is officially cooked by the internet. And the reason I say that is because I was looking through games in the upcoming Steam list to talk about for this week. And I came across a game called ERP Sandbox Simulator. Now, the game itself is not important to this discussion, but my brain immediately went to thinking about, before I clicked on the Steam page, I started thinking about, well, what would an ERP sandbox simulator exactly look like? Would it be, what kind of erotic role-playing simulation would a game entail? And then I clicked on the link, and I saw that when it said ERP, it was economic role-playing, not erotic role-playing like my brain immediately went to. I think my brain is cooked.
I think it just depends on what you're into.
I think my brain is cooked by the internet.
I don't kink shame, so if you're into accounting, I mean, that's kind of hot.
I'm not into accounting. I had the same experience when I saw a game that I don't remember the full name of the game, but it was a sci-fi game, and the first word was futu, like F-U-T-U.
Oh no!
And my brain went in a completely different direction.
Oh no! Me too.
I clicked on it. I was like, this game isn't sexy at all. And I was like, oh no, it's just future.
Oh no! Okay.
But yeah, I need to touch grass.
How do you roleplay economics?
I don't know.
That's kind of the new question that I have now.
I mean, I guess that's every business management game is role-playing economics. It's not a particularly great story to start the show off with, but I just had to get that out in the open.
We all have dirty minds, trust me.
We do. Some of us more than others. And some of us are remembered for our 90s introduction for The Adventures of Pete and Pete. So let's roll with Polaris with Hey Sandy.
It's mighty strange. You looking happily deranged. I can't be settled in bed. Or have you picked your target yet? Hey Sandy. Does your dog bite? Hey Sandy.
And that is the bell. It is time for another episode of Online for Maintenance, the official theoretical podcast of MMOFallout.com. This is episode number 10, Butter Lamb Scrambled Eggs. I'm Connor.
I'm Hannah.
And you can support the show and listen to it a few days early on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/MMOFallout. Patreon.com/MMOFallout, where you can join for as little as $1 a month and encourage whatever it is that we do on a weekly basis. Now, Hannah.
Yeah.
Do you know what a butter lamb is?
I don't, but it sounds delicious and I want one.
It might not be as delicious as it sounds. It is literally a thing of butter shaped like a lamb.
Oh, that! Yeah, we used to always have that for Easter. Which, by the way,
it's a big Polish thing.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Polish Catholic thing. And because I live in Buffalo, where I am surrounded by Polish people, Easter is one of my favorite times of the year because there are butter lambs and paczkis galore.
Ooh, punchki.
Punchkis and tons of fried Polish pastries, and also lamb. And I love lamb.
Same.
Oh, it's so good.
So now this
And
finally makes sense. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like this finally makes sense because like my family always had the butter lamb for Easter,
mhm,
and like I always loved it. It was like one of my favorite things for Easter because that's the only time we ever got a butter lamb. But my family isn't Polish as far as I know. Like we might be slightly, but we're not. But
right.
we are.
I don't
What
think you need to be Polish.
my family is Catholic. I'm not, but like my family is.
Right.
And I grew up around Chicago, which has a very huge Polish person population. So like now that makes sense
Yeah.
because
It
they're
was
like
big in Buffalo.
they were everywhere. Like you can't
Mhm.
like that's basically when Easter rolls around. Like where I'm from, like that's all you see are butter lambs everywhere. So I was like, I didn't really put two and two together because like around here I can find them for Easter, but there's like
Yeah.
one small section in my grocery store.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
Butter lamb is an Easter thing, so you really can't find it at many other times of the year.
Mm.
I did notice, and I'm not normally one to complain about cultural appropriation, but I did notice a lot of my local groceries around November of last year started stocking a butter turkey.
Yes, I love the butter turkey.
That's just not the same.
I
I don't
yeah,
know if they thought that people would burn down the buildings, but up until this year, I've never seen a butter turkey around Thanksgiving time.
I think they're cute. Why not?
I have no personal problem with them, but I just thought I've never seen them before. I just assumed that it was something new. I do need to get some lamb.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yes, I know that the app is installed. My phone is annoying.
I forgot mine actually. I probably should have it, but oh well.
So,
Hmm.
considering that we occasionally roll into the realm of video games, what have you been doing this week?
I have been extremely busy today or this week. And I unfortunately don't have any Sea of Thieves stories to regale you with. I haven't been playing much because I've been very busy with real life. Working on some projects. One of which is for Sentinels of the Store, where I'm gonna be apparently I'm gonna be rebooting my show.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
I'm
used to have a show on YouTube, right?
yeah, I did a show called News Cartridge, which I'm basically just gonna basically be rebooting. Um and yeah, that'll be interesting. So but right now I'm working on getting the back end of that all nice and neat tied up because that should start I should be doing a preview in like June,
Okay.
and then like a full release in I think August. So
We
we're
do like that full release.
it's a process, and it's if you've ever to give people a little look behind the curtain, if you've ever like worked on content, it takes a lot of prep work. Yeah, once you have all that done, you can sometimes just crank out videos, but like you need to get like branding done, make sure that your editing software is up and running, make sure just everything is good to go.
One day I'm going to figure out what that's like. I have a tendency to just cannonball into things.
Well, yeah, that's fun. But like I'm a perfectionist. I love everything to be pretty, so I want to make sure everything's. But
Yeah.
I have gotten to play some video games, just not Sea of Thieves this week. I usually have to have like 2 to 6 hours to sit down and play Sea of Thieves, and I just have not had that much time. But what I have had time for is a game demo. I played a game demo for a game called Warside. It is
Yeah.
a lovely pixel art top down, or I'm not really sure if it's top. Yeah, I think it might be top down.
Kind of isometric-ish.
What's up?
It's isometric-ish. It's kind of like
Isometric.
Legend of Zelda top down.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have ever played the
Advance Wars.
Yeah, I played Advance Wars. Sorry, I'm sorry. If you've ever played Advance Wars, it's basically the exact same game with a couple of different tweaks. It's been literally, I don't know, 20 years since I played Advance Wars. I played it like just to give you just to date me, date how old I am. I rented it from the local movie store to play on my Game Boy Advance. So like that's how long ago I played it.
Have you ever played the ones on the DS?
No, I forgot those existed.
I think most people did.
Yeah. Because they did re-release them for Switch as Reboot Camp 1 and 2. And I want to pick that up at some point. Because I love this style of game. I love tactics-based games. And tactics RPG games, there's all this story that gets in the way. Sometimes you just want to get into combat. Sometimes you just want to, get in, have your troops, just, move across the map and just, blow stuff up. It gives you a wide variety of different units and different things to use. Like there's different infantry, there's different vehicles, there's air vehicles. I really like the dynamic of the game. I don't feel like it's different enough, or I don't feel like things are explained well enough. I had difficulty figuring out what unit would counter what unit. It doesn't really give you much information in that regard. And that might just be because it's the demo. They may just want to get you, rolling into it and, figure it out on your own. Or it may be like explained later on. But it's it does the job. It satisfies you in terms of like if you want this kind of experience where you're like top down pixel art army building sort of thing.
Yeah, I loved it. I think I had an easier time than you did with it because I rolled through all 4 of the demo levels without having a single loss.
Oh, see, I tried to. I did. I lost one time. There's 4 levels in the demo that I know of, and it was the one on the top that I had a particular difficulty with. It's the one where you can't build new units.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
See. I ended up coming out of that, I think, with 8 units left.
Oh wow.
I think I only lost like 1 or 2 units, and it was because the moment I noticed that you couldn't build any more units, my training from 20 years ago went into effect, and I immediately like hunkered down in a way that I had my snipers nested so that they could, like, everyone had a cover on everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I just destroyed. The moment that I figured out that the sniper was the balance against the Jeep with the machine gun on it, I was like, okay, I have this down.
See, I didn't know that because the game, like, I wish it were a little bit more like this unit counters this style of unit or this type of unit rather than specifically whatever it is. But it doesn't. I didn't see that in there.
It's in there, but it's very, if you're not kind of seasoned in that world, it's kind of hard to tell because the game, when you click on the unit, it'll give you a list of other units and it'll say like they'll be green or red, and it'll show the severity to which that unit is effective or ineffective against the other specific unit.
Gotcha.
But it is definitely difficult to keep track of and like kind of keep a mental note of unless you're going up against a very specific set of enemies. And I also loved I clobbered so much ass with that tank that has the pusher on it.
Oh, that thing's amazing. I loved that.
I was just going in circles. Like
Mhm.
a tank would come up, I would go around it, push it into the lake. The next turn, another tank would come up, go to that exact same spot, shoot me, do like 5% damage. I'd go around and then push him because there was nothing tying the strength of your push to how much of a unit you had left. It was just, it always did 2 squares of push.
Yeah. So even if you're at like 2% health, you're pushing them and killing them. Like, yeah, that thing is amazing. If you get it set up right and you can just push stuff either into mountains or into a building or something, it just destroys it. Like you said, you push a tank into water. What I didn't realize though, that it didn't really tell me is that infantry can move over water just fine.
Yes.
I didn't, I wish I I think I just wanted a better tutorial out of it to really explain things.
There's definitely an expectation that the people playing the game are coming from, they're advertising to me, someone who played the shit out of Advance Wars back in the day and just kind of intrinsically knows these things. Like, yeah,
Mm.
infantry can go over water, it slows them down. Or infantry can go into mountains um, where vehicles can't, and vehicles can do these certain things, and infantry can do these things, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that the full version has a much better tutorial. And
Hopefully.
it's a tutorial, so I can't really say that it's the gameplay itself is bad because the gameplay itself is solid, like rock solid. It's great. I think just because I haven't played one of these games in a while, I think I just need to get reacquainted with all that stuff, and a tutorial would do that.
Yeah. The reviews on the game are mixed.
Yeah, I see.
They are 54% mixed ratings, and the people are saying that the game is not finished, but it's not in uh, early access. That it's short. There's apparently not a lot to do with multiplayer. There's no asymmetrical, multiplayer is 1v1 randoms only and apparently doesn't work. There's no custom lobbies for single player versus AI or co-op versus AI. And you can't use the custom content you create in multiplayer.
See, that's all of these things are very sad.
That's
Because
disappointing.
this game would be great with like a 2v2, 3v3 even. 4v4 might get a little bit complicated and take a lot of time, but like this game could definitely be like tons of fun 2v2.
Right. I have seen people commenting that the AI is bad, and I will admit that I think that the AI was incredibly easy to deal with.
If it gets you, it's good, but that's because you probably made mistakes and put your stuff in like a bad way.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, it was not a very difficult game.
I found the AI very easy to manipulate.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that far into it. I did just get through 3 out of the 4 levels, and then I needed to, do other things. But no, it's good. I love the look of it. The art style, the art direction of it is amazing, spectacular.
Mhm.
I one of the things that like these games that I really like does is it whenever you're shooting from a different environment, it puts your unit in that style of environment, and there's so many variations to that. I really appreciate.
Right. But yeah, Warside, I mean, I don't know if I would buy it for $25. I'll probably wait until it goes on a steep discount to purchase it.
Yeah, because it looks good. Yeah, I don't feel like full price for it would be right, especially like if the AI is a little janky. If it's maybe because somebody in a review said 8.6 hours on brutal. which it's like, that's not on brutal. That's not a whole lot of time.
That's not a lot of levels.
Yeah, that's really not. So like if they can maybe tweak the AI a little, if you can get it on sale for maybe, $10, it'd probably be worth it go then.
Yeah, I mean, if the game itself is 8 hours for the demo itself took me like maybe an hour to complete.
Yeah, I didn't play very much. How much time do I have in it? Oh boy. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
But the demo being that the length of the demo versus the length of the game makes me want to buy it even less.
I have an hour and a half in the demo.
Okay. Actually, I have 30 minutes in the demo.
Oh geez. Okay, so you're way better than I am.
I beat it faster
Yeah.
than I thought I did.
I wanted to take my time. I do remember I was just like, I love this. I'm
Right.
building units. Like girls getting their tanks out and like, I basically exclusively built tanks because I found those to be one of the better units.
I love the big tanks.
The big tank is really good, but like in the like first mission, I don't know if you could build those. I just built the smaller ones.
Right. I think it's just the small ones that you can build there.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Mhm.
So I recommend checking that out. Everybody check out the demo if you can. It won't cost you anything.
Yeah. At the very least, there's a demo.
And then I went back to another game that I've been trying to finish ever since I got it, but I just haven't found, I guess, the time for it, is Octopath Traveler. So Octopath is a game by a small company called Square Enix. You may have heard of them.
I've heard of them.
It's an older game. I think it was actually a Switch launch title. I know it was a Switch exclusive for a while when it first came out in 2019. Again, it is a little bit of an older game. The art style, though, I love art direction. You'll always hear me talking about art because I love pretty things. But like, the art style, I think this is like the first game that did this 2.5D, 2D and 3D or something. I forget what it was.
2D HD.
Yeah, 2D HD, HD 2D or whatever. That's what it was one of the first games to do that style, and it's timeless. It's such a like it was instantly like an iconic style. And so 6 years out, the game basically hasn't aged. It's just as good now as it was 6 years ago. And so the premise of the game is that there's 8 different characters, and you go through and you get all 8 characters every single time, but the order in which you get them varies because you basically you start with one, and then you just go around and you pick up the other 7. The one that you start with is going to be your main character, and I believe you can't switch them out of your party. They're just kind of like they're always in your party. The story is great. The music is spectacular. There's one particular area that I'm always like dancing around to the music because it's a nice, fun, like little calypso beat, and it's great. If this game has like everything that a Square Enix game would provide. It's got a collectathon in it. It's got tons of equipment, armor, special things to find, bunch of stuff to do that like I have in the playthrough that I'm going through right now. I think around 60 hours into it, and I'm not done. And I think I have either 1 or 2 more chapters for everybody to go. I think I only have 1 more chapter to go because I think they have 4 chapters apiece. So there's a lot of game here. It's a lot to pay attention to because you do have 8 stories going on all at the same time, and they do kind of interact with each other. They mix, they mingle, and they're each character has a specific goal that they're out adventuring for. Like the main character that I picked, Primrose, she is out to get revenge on people who hurt her family. So she's trying to find these people with crow tattoos because that's the only thing that she remembers. One had a crow on their right hand, one had a crow on their left hand, and one had a crow on their chest. So you're out looking for these people to seek revenge. There's another person, I forget his name, but he's basically been accused of having a relationship with the princess. So in order to dispel any of these rumors, which would not only affect him, but affect the royal family, he must be exiled. So through his exile, he goes to try to reestablish his good name and, figure out who has started these rumors against him.
Okay.
It's a very complicated, complex, intricate game that, like, again, if you're familiar with the writing style, the stories of Square Enix, it is exactly a quintessential Square Enix game. They do everything very, very well. I mean, it's Square Enix. I remember when they merged, and like they've been an amazing company the entire time. So like if you like JRPGs, if you like turn-based party style or RPGs, like it's great. 10 out of 10.
Okay.
One thing I didn't talk about the combat. The combat has it's turn-based, but what you can do is every turn you get a breakpoint. And you can stack up to 3 breakpoints to do more attack. And you activate these with the like L and R, left and right shoulder buttons. Increases R, decreases L. So if it's really satisfying to be like shoulder buttons attack, and then they hit everything really, really hard. It's great.
Very nice. Yeah, Octopath Traveler is a game that I think I played through it long enough to get 3 characters unlocked. And the game, it's not that it was boring, it's just another one of the many games that I started playing that I then immediately got sidetracked by something else.
Yeah, it does require some dedication, not in terms of like you need to always be playing, but it has a lot of story.
I've been really bad in the past about that, where I'll play through I'll be playing through an RPG and then a new game will come out and I'll be like, oh hey.
Mm-hmm. And then like you'll play that other game and you go back to the RPG and I was like, what was I even doing?
Yeah. Then you think like, I feel like I need to start over from the beginning.
But thankfully, Octopath has a built-in like it keeps track of where you are and it gives you a synopsis of what's happened. So if you do that, you can go back in and just read, okay, where am I? Oh yeah, that's where I am. And it gives you very clear, very specific goals. I think they built the game with that in mind, that people may pick this up, play it for 10 hours, put it down, come back to it in a week or two and go, what was I doing? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. And then just get into it. So that's nice.
Especially with a game that effectively has 8 simultaneous stories going on, you want the ability to keep people up to date on what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and again, there is a lot going on, and I think that's what Square Enix was trying to do. They wanted a world that felt alive, and the way that you do that is by putting stuff in it. Have stuff happen. So if you have 8 things going on all at the same time, each character has progressing story chapters. Each character and like each chapter has level requirements, or at least like recommended level requirements. So you have to be playing each character to get them up to level, because if you don't play them and you end up in a new place and it's like they're only level 15, my next level requirement's 27, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me. So I think it's great. I know JRPGs aren't the most popular thing amongst Western gamers, at least I feel lately. Most people tend to like the Elden Ring style RPGs, at least in my friends group. not like I don't know many people in my friends group that like turn-based games.
There's a few people in the other community I'm in. I noticed that they talk about turn-based games as if it's a very negative thing.
Yeah.
Where they talk about it like, I don't play turn-based games because we have the technology to have everything be in real time now.
That's disappointing. I think that that's very short-sighted.
And it's also not why they made turn-based games.
No, it's not.
It was basically like the early turn-based games were basically just an extension of Dungeons and Dragons.
Uh-huh.
The idea of a tabletop game where people take turns.
Yeah, correct. It's a digital board game, effectively. Which, like, I don't mind that. I mean, Pokemon's turn-based, everybody. Y'all like Pokemon still, right? Most of them are turn-based.
I don't think a lot of them like Pokemon.
Oh, fair. I love Pokemon. What the hell? Okay.
I don't think I've played a Pokemon game since well, actually not too long ago. I played the remake for the Switch.
Oh, okay.
The red and blue remake that they did, I think it was like Pokemon Adventures.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure. The last one I played, the last traditional Pokemon game I played was X and Y. And then I played a little bit of Arceus. I didn't play much of that, and then I wanted to remake my character, so I went back and replayed it, or remade my character, and then just never played it.
Right.
So maybe I'll go back and play that. Ooh.
Maybe. And then get distracted from Bravely Default again.
Yeah, uh-huh. Bravely Default, I haven't played that.
Oh,
Octopath.
I
would like to try Bravely Default. Like I've heard about that.
I have Bravely Default. It's another game that I played like 10 hours of and then got distracted.
Yeah, see, like I love the art style, the like chibi style characters. Yeah. Another Square Enix game.
Yep, another Square Enix game. That one, they have a remake coming out of that.
Ooh, really?
Yes.
Of the first one?
That's one of the games that got announced during the Switch 2 reveal.
Oh, I didn't see. I need to pay better attention.
Mm-hmm. Have you played anything else?
That's it. That's as far as I can remember. Again, I've been really busy with real life stuff.
Right. Okay. Time for me to talk about what I've been playing.
Ooh.
And we already got one of them out of the way, which was Warside with that demo. Now, the full game that I've been playing this week is Crime Scene Cleaner. It is I think it's Playway SA that published it. It's basically another Polish, that's Playway SA, by President Studio. And it's another simulator game. In this case, you play as a guy who takes on jobs cleaning crime scenes for the mafia.
Okay.
Now, the bulk of the game is going around and you have to clean up blood, you have to clean up garbage, you have to get rid of evidence, get rid of bodies. And then all of the buildings that you're in have little secrets in them. They have stuff that you can steal for extra money. They have little cassette tapes that you can steal to unlock more music as the game goes on. And each level has its own little story going on. My personal favorite was one of the levels is set in a building that effectively someone has gaslit the family into thinking that the building is haunted. And it culminates in the grandma killing everyone and then herself.
Oh.
So you have to go in, clean up the bodies, get rid of the Bluetooth speakers that are playing ominous voices and music, and then clean the house up. But out of all of them, it is one of the more interesting stories, because most of the other levels kind of follow the same routine of there was a mafia hit.
Gotcha.
It is a very much by the numbers game, and I think I'm pretty much on the second last level. And you can see the kind of drop off that the game has, because I think the last level of the game, I know it's under 10%, but it might be like 5% of the people that have played it have actually hit that ending.
Mm-hmm.
And gotten the achievement for it. And it's not a particularly long game. I am just a couple of... I'm like at the second last level, and I've been playing for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the achievement stats, it's something like... Okay, so... 5% of people beat the level that I'm on right now. 3% have actually completed all of the missions in the game.
Okay.
And
so not many people have gotten there.
Right. And a lot of the people that I've talked to that played the game, because it is on Game Pass, so it's not a hard sell if you're a Game Pass subscriber to just install it and play it. And it's a game that if you don't like it in the first level, you're not going to like it in any level after that, because there's really no progression of systems. Everything that you get is there from the start, and what you're doing in hour 1 versus what you're doing in hour 10 is exactly the same thing. You're scrubbing, you're picking up garbage. The only difference is that since you level up, you're doing it more efficiently because you upgrade your tools, you upgrade your stuff to make it... Like, you upgrade your mops to last longer and be more powerful. So you're just doing things more efficiently and quicker. But you are doing exactly the same thing that you did an hour... Like, from the start of the game to the end. You don't really unlock tools. You have everything available to you.
Is the biggest difference between this and Visceral Cleanup Detail just the story?
Viscera Cleanup Detail, I would say, is more of a... It's supposed to be a wacky game. Like, it reins in on the whole, the physics barely work, and, playing around with the game around the jank-ass physics system, whereas Cleanup Simulator, crime scene cleanup is more of just a very straightforward kind of watching the numbers go up.
Gotcha, okay.
It's not great, it's not terrible. I'm kind of a sucker for these games.
Yeah.
I have that itch in my brain that I am perfectly fine playing a game where I am just scrubbing down the side of a building until the building is clean. It's the same reason that I have put... Oh, Lord, do I even want to check? Oh, that's not too bad. It's the same reason I put over 80 hours into Power Wash Simulator.
That's fair. But that's a really relaxing game, though.
It is. And there's just something... There's something that, it makes you feel good as you watch just the grime go away. And then you get, especially in Power Wash Simulator, because you get that little time lapse at the end where it shows you cleaning up the whole thing, just to make you think maybe the last hour and a half of my life was not wasted on this. I've put out a couple videos on Power Wash Simulator because I have said that Power Wash Simulator is Pavlov's dog simulator, because every time you complete an objective, the game rings a little bell. And it keeps you salivating and wanting to move on to the next thing to clean off.
It literally gives you a bell. Wow.
Yeah, not just for completing the level, but every individual object that you completely clean, the game rings a little bell.
Yeah, it's training you.
So if you have a bunch of little items in a row that the game puts out, you just hear bing, 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 bing. Pavlov's Dog Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I probably would not buy Crime Scene Cleanup. At least not until it was on a cheap sale. But the fact that it was on Xbox Game Pass, I am perfectly fine playing it and beating it over the course of maybe a weekend. And I'll probably go back after the podcast today and just finish it, because I need to put out a video for it. Which, speaking of nostalgia, in addition to using the Pete and Pete soundtrack here, I do have a video series on YouTube called It Came From Game Pass. And the theme song that I use from that is from Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Ooh, I remember that show.
I am planning on doing what other YouTubers do and what I probably should have done a long time ago, and putting in credits with the patrons to try to give people a little bit of an extra thing for subscribing. Now, I did play a third game, and this one, it didn't frustrate me. I don't know what the equivalent of frustration without a whole lot of emotion would be called. I played Cerulean Invasion, the demo. That's a visual novel. And when you pull it up on Steam, you'll know exactly what kind of visual novel it is.
Uh-huh.
It's Cerulean Invasion. It's a visual novel where you are enlisted in the army fighting a war against an alien group. Because they've destroyed a moon base and killed like 15,000 people. Now, you are a guy who plays video games all day, but you're also kind of a ripped hunk. And you're going into training with a bunch of other really ripped hunks. One of whom has pink hair, and his name is Evan.
He's pretty.
Mm-hmm. Now, you also, in the demo, you meet two characters. One of them is Evan, and the other one's name is Osman. And there's a couple of scenes in the demo. One of them, you're taking a shower with Evan, and then Osman shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And Osman, you initially hate. Osman hates you.
Ooh, even better.
And so you end up almost starting a fight in the shower, and Osman is like, the reason I'm so hostile to you is because I want you, and I can't stand that feeling. And then you rub up against each other for a little bit. And then you rub up against each other for a little bit, and then your character's like, I'm gonna tease you, so enjoy the rest of your shower. And you leave. And you go back and you get your room assignments, and lo and behold, you are rooming with Osman and Evan.
Oh, no.
What a shock.
What a shocker.
Yep. So you go back to your bunk, and you get into bed, and at that point, Evan gets into your bed with you.
Ooh.
And this is the line that got me frustrated, because Evan gets on the bed, and I'll share that screenshot.
Please.
And he is just all ready to go.
Uh-huh.
And you have the option where it's like, do you want to do this, or do you want to say no? And I was like, well, saying no is not an option here. So your character starts talking about Evan and talking about his body, and then he says, most of all, I wanted to see him with my dick pressed against his lips, drinking down my, and then the demo is over.
No.
And it cuts to a thank you for playing.
No.
And first of all, I want to know where I can find what army can I enlist in that gets me surrounded by very ripped, very horny gay men.
That would be the regular army.
Oh, okay. I don't think I want to enlist there.
No, probably not. Not right now, especially.
But I love the idea that your guy is a nerd who plays video games all day, but also he does cardio, so like he's got great pecs and a 6-pack and
I can appreciate
the things we can dream of.
Oh yes.
I do cardio. I don't have pecs like that.
I don't desire pecs like that, so that's why I don't do cardio.
But yeah, so it's Cerulean Invasion. The full game isn't out yet. It's still listed as coming soon.
Very much, it's coming soon.
But that is definitely going on my wish list.
It is a very, very thirsty game.
Oh, it is an extremely thirsty game. Your drill instructor that pops up during training, you're immediately like, damn, he's hot. So just
he's your drill instructor. I mean, that's already enough.
Even your drill instructor, it's like wow, he's kind of a hard ass, but also he's cute. Yeah. Not a whole lot to talk about this week. I definitely do want to play more demos for next week, and I also have another game that I'll have to talk about for next week, but I also didn't really play much. Well, I played a good amount of game, but a lot of it was finishing things that I've talked about in previous weeks. I also haven't been playing any Fortnite because I got to level 200 on the Battle Pass, and that's when I quit the game until the season's over.
Oh, okay.
Just because I don't want... But usually by that point, I've kind of run out of energy to play the game for a little while.
Yeah, it's never bad to take breaks.
Because I usually play it while the season's going on. I usually end up playing it pretty much once a day for at least an hour a day. Just to get the Battle Pass. They do have a Star Wars Battle Pass coming out next.
Okay.
Including a reference to Darth Jar Jar.
Oh, all right. That's not canon, is it?
I don't think so. It depends on how you consider canon.
No, I don't.
I don't know if it's actually canon.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
But on that note, I need to close this window because I had the Steam page for Cerulean Invasion up, and it's been distracting me the whole time.
Yeah, I've got it up, and it's nice.
It's nice, but I need to pay attention to other things. Now, I brought up a list of games that are coming out in the next week that I want to present. Some of which I've talked about in the past, and some of which are pretty new. And I know you might have one or two of them to talk about this week.
Have
or
4.
Ooh, even better. So we'll go back and forth.
Okay.
Now, the first game that I want to talk about is also coming out on Game Pass. It is called Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And this is a turn-based combat game that promises real-time RPG mechanics. So apparently the world is coming to an end, and you are with a group of people that embark on a quest to stop the end of the world. It is a beautiful ass game. If you've seen the screenshots of it, it is very grandiose in scope.
Yeah,
Just
like
a lot of
Frostpunk, kind of like Frostpunk style scale. Like it's very like there's a very, very intricate, detailed world that you get to see a lot of.
intricate detail, very large structures, very big enemies, and the UI at times almost makes the game look like it's fake, you know? Like the UI has been painted on that isn't actually in the game just because it's very very interesting in how stylized it is. But it is interesting to see. It's a game that it's not part of a franchise. It looks like a completely new IP, and they've been talking about it relentlessly, going behind the scenes with the voice acting and all kinds of stuff. I do like a good race against time story, very fantasy oriented, and I am interested in seeing how the real-time mechanics work with the turn-based strategy style. But again, it is coming to Game Pass.
Oh, it's coming to Game Pass. Okay, wonderful.
That's the next game coming to Game Pass, and then the game after that is Return to the Savage Planet, which is the sequel to Journey to the Savage Planet.
Gotcha. So this is made by Sandfall Interactive, and I've never heard of them before.
Yep, it's made by Sandfall Interactive. I think this is their first game as a studio.
Okay, well they're coming out swinging.
Yeah, definitely. And that one comes out April 24th, so that's not going to be too long. And they must have gotten something for it because Microsoft put it on Game Pass day one.
It looks very heavily Dungeons and Dragons inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. I love the look of it.
Yep. So you're attempting to stop the Paintress, who is an entity that has foretold the end of the world.
Okay.
Now, what's your first game?
So my first game is actually a collection of a series of games that was released so long ago called the Lunar Remastered Collection. I haven't actually played any of the Lunar games, but a friend of mine back from when I was a kid raved about these games. It's another like classic traditional JRPG where you build a party, you go on adventures and stuff. It's a game that's at least like it's probably 25 years old by now, but games like this need to be continuously updated so that way new audiences can play them because I guarantee you that this will stand the test of time.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it contains two games, Lunar Silver Star Story and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue.
yeah.
They were originally released in the mid 90s as remakes for the version from the early 90s.
It's along the same
that's
style.
why.
What's up?
So I was looking at the graphics and I was like, this looks very Sega CD, and they were Sega CD games.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was Sega CD. I'm not sure if it was on PlayStation.
The remakes were on PlayStation.
The remakes were on PlayStation. Yeah, it was back during that time when Sega was putting out game consoles.
I do love the cover art for Sega CD games,
Yeah, they were so good.
especially Japanese games.
Lunar has a lot of hand-drawn art. Like, I think basically any of like all the cutscenes that you see in the game, it's all hand drawn anime style art. So if you like the like late 1980s style of anime, this game will give you every single bit of that you want. It's classic art style that's timeless, and it should be a good game.
Oh, it is very. It is so 80s/90s anime.
Mm-hmm. I'm a sucker for it.
Mm-hmm. That one should be good. I might have to. I don't know if I would buy it, but I'll definitely have to rent that on console. It did come out. It has
Yeah,
a very positive 88% rating on Steam of 171 reviews.
Yeah, because the game is like very, very popular, or at least it was very popular when it came out. The people who played it really, really liked it. So it's just an update. They've made it for new aspect ratios, the Steam platform and all that.
Yeah, the graphics look great. I
Mhm.
really hated. See, I love the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters.
Mhm.
What I really hate is the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest games where they did the remake and they replaced the pixel graphics with like really bad they called them HD, but it was like kind of MS Paint drawings
Mhm. I know
where
exactly.
they look too rounded, the font looks terrible, and
Mhm.
just everything looks bad. They look like mobile games.
Yeah. And this isn't doing any of that. This looks wonderful. This just looks like the Dragon Quest. Um, Obviously the Dragon Quest remake was a 2D HD, but this is just like a straight remaster, and it's really nice.
God, I love that anime aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
The hand drawn cutscenes.
The
It
classic
is.
like late 80s pointy nose on the anime. Yeah.
Yep. The pointy nose, the not really knowing how to draw characters looking straight at the camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That is just chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm. So what's your next game?
My next game is the full game for a demo that I talked about a few weeks ago, and that is the Boba Tea Shop.
Mm-hmm.
That game is finally coming out this week. And the Boba Tea Shop, it's another genre that I am an absolute sucker for. It's the do a thing, no real difficulty to speak of. Do a thing, and then occasionally, every so often, a pre-scripted spooky thing happens. People act menacingly around you, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff happens, and things fall off the shelf, and then eventually the story's over after about maybe an hour or two. But the game itself is $3-4, and I am perfectly fine with that. There's no timers, there's no stress. It is just you interacting with people, making boba tea, and seeing where the game goes. And I did play the demo. I enjoyed the demo. The demo was like 10 minutes long. So I'm expecting the full game to be maybe. If the full game is an hour, I'll be shocked. If it's an hour and a half, I will be very impressed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You make boba tea, you interact with people, you work in a building that looks like it was set up for a serial killing or a spooky Japanese ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And it has that almost PS1 style aesthetic that I enjoy. And that game comes out, it is out on April 21st. So that is out. Actually, it's out
Tomorrow.
pretty much overnight. The Steam page says that it unlocks in about 8 hours.
Oh, okay,
which
yeah.
is
Midnight.
2:30 a.m. my time.
Oh, yeah, that's right, time zone.
So you could play it tonight, but I'll be asleep.
Fair.
Now, what's your next game?
So my next game is a sequel to a game I already own. It is already out too. It's called Gorn 2. Now,
Gorn 2.
Gorn is I kind of considered a quintessential VR game. Like, if you have a VR helmet, you really should play Gorn. It's a great arena style uh, brawler fighting game. It's not really a fighting game because it's all real. It's like real time. You don't really like have move combos. You just kind of like react and swing weapons. Um, they send waves of enemies after you, and it's basically just beat the living crap out of everything that you see. And it's a ton of fun. Gorn 2 offers a lot more options, different arenas. Looks great.
That's good. I did play the original one a very long time ago.
Yeah, it's again, it's just like again, it's quintessential like Beat Saber. If you're gonna have a VR helmet, get Gorn, get Beat Saber. There's obviously a couple more games that you want to get for like to really show off what VR can do, but like Gorn it's a really really fun time. You will get into it. My nephew actually, when they were playing it, almost broke the TV because they were swinging too hard and tapped it, and yeah.
See, I have the Quest 2, which has the pretty effective room guard.
No, I do too. They just weren't paying attention to it.
Right.
So you can get lost in it and like really get into it. It is a little bit gory, so if you're a little bit squeamish, maybe avoid it. But it's mostly cartoon violent.
It's very cartoon gore.
Yeah,
but it does get. I mean, if the second one's anything like the first one, it does get kind of graphic, like where you can bash someone's face in, and it sort of shows their eyeballs bugging out, and like their jaws all messed up.
And I'm seeing skulls are popping out of heads in this. It's like, and eyeballs are like falling out. Like, it's great.
I used to like on the original Gorn, I would take the fist, or I would take the mace, and I would let it slide down my hand so that the ball was right at the top, and I would just grab a guy and just like bash his face in right in front of me, and like you just see his skull cave in.
Yeah.
Or it was very easy to just grab someone and just like rip their limbs off.
Mm-hmm. So
the only reason I stopped playing that game was because they heavily rubberized the weapons after release. So like it became a lot easier for you. You would try to stab someone, and the knife would just kind of like glance off of them.
Yeah.
I hated that.
Yeah, it does have a couple issues. Hopefully Gorn 2 fixes that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I do need to play more now that I need to clear my coffee table off and play more Beat Saber.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have so many custom songs loaded in Beat Saber. And that game is a workout.
Mm-hmm.
I need to play more Beat Saber before the weather goes up, because it gets too hot in my house to play Beat Saber in the summer.
Especially because, like, I don't know about you, but like my Quest 2, when I played it for an hour, the thing is hot.
Right.
Yeah. So it's hot, it's heavy. I'm guessing you don't play it with a cord?
I do.
You'd use a cord, okay.
Yeah.
I use the wireless ever since I enabled the wireless on it, it's a much better experience because I was having issues with keeping the cord attached long enough.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I never had issues with that.
Do you sit at your desk or you stand?
Well, if I'm playing Beat Saber, I'm standing.
Okay. We got to discuss your magic then, because I've always had issues.
I don't know. I've had more problems with the wireless
Really?
On Beats, well, specifically on Beat Saber, because that's a game where you have to have, you know,
Yeah.
more direct connection.
We're having
At
the
least in
exact
my
opposite.
opinion.
We're having the exact opposite experiences because, like, I liked Beat Saber and I liked it even more because of the wireless because it would stop disconnecting on me.
That's weird.
Maybe I'm just
I
buying
think
bad
my
games.
router just sucks.
That might be it. I have a very good router.
Right? I have the one that Verizon gave me with FiOS.
Oh no, not this girl.
I need to get one of those gamer routers that has 7 antennas sticking out of it.
Mine has 2, but they're good. You know, and those routers with all the antennas, you only need really 1 or 2 antennas. Like, they're
Right.
just fancy.
I do like for VR games Blade and Sorcery. That's sort of a more straightforward fantasy sword and bow game.
Gotcha.
I am terrible. I don't know how you are with this. Anything that involves throwing, I am terrible at in VR.
I haven't had that much experience with throwing stuff in VR. I don't fucking.
I throw like a child. Where like I feel like I'm getting enough momentum, and then I let go, and the thing will just like plop 2 feet away.
I don't think that's you. I
I
think
don't
that's the
know.
program. Because it
I
should.
have the Quest 2. I want to get the Quest 3.
Same. I like my Quest 2.
So do I. I like watching movies on it.
See, I got the old school. I have an Oculus Quest 2, not a Meta Quest 2.
I have a couple apps on my Quest 2 that are they fake movie theaters.
Oh, those are fun.
But yeah, that's so my third game is a horror title. A little bit of a walking simulator. It's called Necrophasis. It is a first-person horror adventure that has a demo out with eerie landscapes and all sorts of macabre stuff.
Very H.R. Geiger inspired.
Yes. Now the story, I don't know what the story is. You're just kind of going through this world and interacting with the things that happen in it. It's apparently a puzzle game and a walking simulator, but it is very atmospheric and very creepy. There's a lot of skulls and bones and death. And I'm definitely going to play the demo at some point this week and talk about it next week. But it is a walking simulator, which is kind of what I want out of a game like this. Some light puzzling. I'm not really big on a game like this where there's combat and game overs because it's very easy to slip from atmospheric to frustrating when you have games like that.
Yeah, because that's something that Scorn, I think, struggled with.
Scorn struggled with it, and I would say Amnesia: The Dark Descent struggled with it.
Ah, okay.
Although Amnesia was kind of in the opposite direction because the game had a dynamic difficulty system, and the only thing that I really didn't like about it was that if you died more than maybe once or twice to a monster, the game would just get rid of it.
Oh, so you don't really have a chance to like learn how to do it.
You don't have the chance to try again because you would reload into an area and the monster would just be gone.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I didn't like that about the game's difficulty system.
Yeah,
But
because
then they went over to the Chinese room who got rid of pretty much all of the difficulty completely.
well, it looks good. It looks really, really creepy. I don't think I'd play it because I don't like to I don't like games like this.
No?
No, I'm not a big fan of horror games.
Oh. So that one comes out April 25th. There is a demo out
This
for
looks
those
to
who want to
be.
look at it.
This does look to be more horror and
Mhm.
less jump scare. And I
Yeah.
I will play horror games sometimes. I will play games like Lethal Company, but I really don't like just jump scare games. You know,
Right.
FNAF is not my thing. So like this I might I might play this, but I wouldn't necessarily seek this out.
Yeah. I mean, there is a demo.
Yeah, I could give the demo a try. Like visually, I am impressed.
It is
I
beautiful.
I love the dystopian, you know, how to describe this. I'm not really sure. And BPG about it. Um,
Dystopian, it's like nightmare landscape.
yeah, very Doom inspired, but not demons, just human bones.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't even say it's not dystopian, but just dismal.
Dismal.
It feels like the whole world is just miserable.
Yeah, and like it's built with death. Like
Yeah.
that's the
E-
like yeah.
Everything is surrounded by death and just misery and
Mhm.
suffering.
Yeah.
Hellscape.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my third game.
Okay. My third game is going to be a game called Desperate Place. This is a top-down 2D city builder. There is a demo for it, so I'm going to download that and play it. It looks like it's base building, but it's also like a tower defense. So you'll have units that you'll have a base. You can put units and different resource stuff that you need in it, and then you can surround your base with different weapons, different artillery placements and walls in order to not only try to like maze your enemies, but try to like stop them from getting in.
Okay.
Like the art style is again, I always talk about art styles. The art style is really cool because it's like this 2D effect because it's isometric, but everything it's I don't know. You kind of just have to see it. It's all hand drawn, and it looks great. So I can't wait to play this one.
It is a good looking game. I personally do not like tower defense games, but I like the visual aesthetic of this game.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very hand drawn.
Yeah. And this one's out tomorrow by a developer called Bruce Galaxy.
Ooh.
It's their first game that I can tell.
Yeah, it looks like their first game. And there is a demo.
Mm-hmm. It looks like you are defending your spaceship that has crashed. And I guess after defeating enemies, you'll be able to rebuild it and take off. Usually that's the goal of these kinds of games.
Right. I do like the idea of a tower defense game that has objectives. Because usually in a tower defense game, it's just see how far you can go until you get overwhelmed.
Yeah. So having more of an endpoint for your game and having more of an overall point of why you're doing this might give you the motivation to like keep going.
Okay, perfect. Now, my fourth game, or 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So my fourth game is a title called Steel Seed. This one is coming out in a few days, the 22nd. And Steel Seed is a stealth action adventure set in a sci-fi world where you play as a woman and her drone, uncovering secrets, surviving danger, and searching for answers. It is very much it's sort of the opposite of Necrophysis, where it is in gigantic landscapes, but it's very much sci-fi, very metal construction, and I like the idea of you have stealth. It feels like sci-fi Assassin's Creed almost,
Uh-huh.
where you got your character jumping around the environment, hiding from enemies, and just scaling gigantic buildings. You can take down enemies, but the game points out that you really need to stay in stealth. This is not the kind of game where you want to get into face-to-face confrontations. And in a world where Assassin's Creed games have slowly gotten away from focusing on stealth, I think that this has the opportunity to make a big name for itself.
Mm-hmm. It looks great. I love the laser sword.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very it looks very hack and slash. So it says stealth, but it like all of the trailer is like pointing to a hack and slash brawler game.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
kind
you
of
got to
looking
have
at
action in the trailer.
fair. Yeah, fair. You don't want to be all just like sneaking around during your game because then it's going to look boring. So fair, that is true. This is something I'd absolutely play. I like the look of it.
I love
The
the look of it.
environments, their environments are honestly reminding me of Armored Core, of like Armored Core 6.
Yes. Yeah.
Just metal structures, huge, just metal structures everywhere, and just buildings built on top of buildings.
Now, the game is written, well, it was revised and edited by BAFTA award-winning writer Martin Korda, who is most known for writing. He did some writing on Destiny 2. He was the lead writer on Fable of the Journey, and was also a writer on the video game The Movies. Do you have another game?
Yeah, we got one more. This one is called Outworld Station. This one unfortunately does not have a demo. I would love to try it. I'm a sucker for automation games. Show me an automation game and I've either heard of it or I've probably played it. Thanks to you, now I got one more on my list. I'm gonna try that
Yeah.
out. But Outworld Station looks to be a game where you're building a space station that is achieving some type of goal. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. I just see this and I'm like, I really want to try this out because it looks nice. There's a huge just repeating structures that you're building out in space. So you're not really restricted like you are in like games like Satisfactory or Factorio, where you're basically working off of a 2D plane. I know Satisfactory is 3D and you can build up, but you're still on a 2D plane. This looks like it's just taking place in just 3D space, so you can just build however you like.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, that is a good looking game.
It is out in 2 days on Tuesday, April 22nd.
Ooh. So
you do have to like defend your base as well from enemies. So it's not only like resource gathering, but you'll get attacked as well and deal with waves of enemies. I'm not sure how if it's waves or if you're constantly attacked like you are in Factorio. But it's nice like this because if it's more like Dyson Sphere program, it should be more like you're building up and pissing the enemy off and then they send a wave at you.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Now, for my last game, I have the 100-line Last Defense Academy. It is such an anime style plot. Now, the plot of the game, so this is a turn-based strategy game, and the plot of it is that 15 students are tasked with defending a school from grotesque monsters for 100 days. Because, of course, they're students.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, there are monsters. And, I mean, the whole point of the game is that you have to... There's a story mode. There's going to be sacrifice. There's going to be some drama. There's going to be some high school students. And you have to spend time with your teammates. There are relationship systems. There are... there's exploration and presumably dungeon crawling. It seems to be rather Persona-esque in some of the parts of it. But yeah, you are students doing what normal Japanese students do, which is fighting off mythical beasts.
Of course.
Which is just kind of normal Japanese curriculum if you don't live in Japan.
I mean, once you turn 18, you save the world from all sorts of demonic forces, right?
Once you've turned, I mean, it's like, like how people in the United States talk about if you haven't taken your SATs, you're never going to get into a good college. In Japan, it's kind of like that, where it's like, if you haven't killed God, then you're probably not going to get into a good university.
Exactly.
Everyone's killed God at least once in Japan. It's sort of like if you're Canadian, if you're Canadian, you get enlisted to be on Degrassi for at least 2 episodes. Everyone was on Degrassi at some point in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person. It's like how in South Korea you have to do 2 years of military service.
Yeah.
In Canada, you have to be on at least 2 episodes of Degrassi Junior High. But that's all the video games that I have to talk about for this week. At least as far as upcoming stuff is concerned. Now, I do think that we can go to the news, and I have a few news pieces to talk about.
And I have one.
Yes, tell me your one.
All right, we have Sea of Thieves news. Yay! So this is so Sea of Thieves is coming to BattleNet, of all places. And this, I'll be completely honest, confused the living hell out of me, because I was like, how and why is this thing even getting there? And then I remembered that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. And I was like, oh, that's right. Microsoft owns Rare and Activision Blizzard. Why would they not just put it on their own darn platform at this point? So, like, okay, now that made way more sense to me. It does give Steam some competition, and it should open the player base ? A little, maybe. I don't know. I feel like if you haven't already bought the game, or at least heard of the game, I don't know why putting it on BattleNet would be like the final push to be like, you know what? I wasn't going to buy it on Steam, but now that it's on BattleNet, I'm there. Like, I don't know who has that attitude.
Yeah, I don't know how big the market is of people who play games on PC who say to themselves, well, I'm not buying this until it comes to BattleNet.
Yeah, because I'm not buying this until it comes to Steam group, yeah, that's a big group. But, like, I'm not buying this because it's not on BattleNet. We may be saying this sentence for the first time in human history.
I think the only reason people will end up buying it on BattleNet is because apparently there are exclusive cosmetics.
Yes, which is what, yeah, that's basically the only reason to buy this thing. I hope that if you do buy it, if somebody like me were to buy it, it just adds the cosmetics to your collection.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they're nice cosmetics. I don't think that they're terrible. I don't know if they necessarily fit, quote unquote, fit in the game, because it's just taking IPs from the real world, and then putting it into the game. And again, it works. I guess if you really like Overwatch and you want to represent Overwatch in Sea of Thieves, you can do that now. You know, if you're a super huge World of Warcraft fan and you want World of Warcraft sales on your World of Warcraft boat in a non-World of Warcraft game,
I mean, with considering how much World of Warcraft players spend on cosmetics, this is nothing.
mm-hmm. Fair.
Blizzard sold a $90 mount, and that thing probably made more money than a lot of smaller AAA games.
Sadly.
Now, do they have a release date on that? Do you know?
May 22nd, my birthday.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So if anybody out there is looking for birthday presents for me, I'm just playing. No.
That'll be a perfect thing to donate to the Patreon to fund.
I actually don't really want this. I mean,
No.
I'm okay with it existing, but I'm not like, I wouldn't be seeking out to possess this, to own this.
Well, yeah, because you already own the game.
I already own the game, and I mean, okay, my goal in Sea of Thieves is to literally own everything. Like, buy all the in-game stuff. I don't really care about the premium content stuff because that just means like how much money can I spend on the damn thing.
Right.
But I'm trying to collect everything in the game, and in that aspect, they do work. You could like take parts of the ships, certain cosmetics, mix them with other cosmetics to make a new theme. So that that's always a thing, because it's great to like mix and match different sets to maybe give a different feel or something. There's one of my favorite sets in the game that's the party boat, and the party boat has a rat riding a firework for the figurehead, like for the front of the ship. I think that's funny. I think it's great, but they released a crab holding a knife riding a wave. And so now we run crab holding a knife riding a wave party boat instead of the rat riding the firework. So it's nice to like be able to intermix and interchange things. So I think that it could work in that aspect. But other than that, I don't really think anybody's going to be representing like Diablo sales. I don't think that's a thing. Considering that, like, if you see, you learn things about Sea of Thieves while you're playing it, and if you see somebody with purchased sales, that pretty much means that they're a noob. Anybody in the game who's earned good sales, they're going to be using the sales that you earned, or the sales that you get from the developer. Rare actually will give out a sale to people. If you meet a developer in the game, they'll actually give you items and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
That is so cool. There's a specific firework even that cannot be obtained unless you've been given it by a Rare employee, and that firework is actually the Rare logo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's so cool. And the firework, if you haven't seen fireworks in Sea of Thieves, literally the best fireworks in any video game.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, but I'm not sure who's going to buy it.
Right. I mean, however many people buy it will just be fresh meat for you to bully in the servers.
Absolutely. Because I suspect the two kinds of people that are going to buy it are people who are brand new that are like, you know what, I'll buy it. It's on Battle.net, sure, I'll go for it now. Or the people who are like, I own everything, and this is one more. I've got 80,000 hours.
Yes.
And this is just another checkbox.
The people who need to own all of the cosmetics.
Yeah, so like, it'll be more of the first than the second. There's not very many of the second one.
Right. Now, second news piece. Nintendo Switch 2. Now, Nintendo has announced that the pre-orders will be going up toward the end of the month. The pre-orders begin in the US on April 24th. The price of the Switch is not increasing, but the price of accessories are going up. And I have a feeling that this is Nintendo realizing that they kind of need to raise their prices, but also acknowledging that people were really upset about the prices of the system.
Yeah.
Given that the Switch 2 is $450 and the Switch 2 with Mario Kart is $500. Now, I did watch the Treehouse for Mario Kart, and the comments were all people saying the system costs too much.
Uh-huh.
And we'll see how the system sells. Personally, I am probably going to cave and buy the Switch 2 day one.
If I can afford it, I'd like to get it.
Because I have to own all of the consoles. I mean, shit, I own a Playdate.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I couldn't find it last week. I got it right here.
Yeah. There's the crank.
Yep. My little crank. It gets the job done. So the Switch 2, they announced that the accessories are going to be expensive as shit. And I'm talking about a pair of Joy-Con 2s is $95.
That's insane. If they're going to be $95 for the pair, they better not only, make mama some food, mama some good barbecue or something, but they need to...
There better be a hole in that Joy-Con, if you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. But for real, there better be no drift. They better have the drift problem figured out, because I had to buy my kid a full new set of Joy-Cons because they're just they couldn't play them anymore. They had to disconnect their controllers and exclusively use a Pro controller, because if you had them connected, just drift, and it would just be like, hey, I need help. They'd always ask me, hey, I need help. It's doing this. And I'm like, and I just disconnect the controller and it stopped. I'm like, well, your controllers are effed.
The camera is $55, which is even funnier when you realize that the camera, when you're sharing video, only goes up to 480 resolution.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. What?
And it also it looks like it plays at about 15 frames per second.
What are they doing?
The Pro controller is going to be $85.
Huh? So they're basically encouraging people to not buy new Joy-Cons.
Pretty much. The Joy-Con strap is $14.
It doesn't come with one?
I don't know. The dock set is $120.
The dock set, so that's like a recharging dock.
I think it's just a replacement dock.
For the Switch itself. Okay.
Yeah.
That seems pretty standard.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the Switch 2.
Do we know if the Switch 2 dock, if the Switch is compatible with the Switch 1 dock?
It is. I don't believe that it is. Because it's
a
different.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. Yeah, it wouldn't be, because it probably.
I think that the plug is in a different spot.
Oh, fair. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair.
Plus, the Switch 2 dock has the Switch 2 dock has extra cooling, so I don't think that it would be compatible.
Okay.
Because the Switch 2 runs a lot more power when docked than the Switch does, which is why they have the cooling built into it. The Switch 2 apparently has docked up to 4K video.
That'll be interesting.
I mean, it's all up-resed and uses scaling to get to that, but
yeah,
the Switch 2 itself has a 1080p screen.
That'll be nice. That'll be really nice to actually hold 1080p in your hands.
Like I said, I'm a sucker. I will end up buying that thing day one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna make viewing content on it really, really nice at 1080p. Like, because I think 1080p content, if you're watching YouTube, especially on a small screen like that,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like,
Plus,
everything will come.
it's a newer generation of LCD, so the colors on it are apparently going to be sharper than you would expect from an LCD screen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also it'll make making content better, because right now, whenever I record videos for YouTube stuff, playing Switch games, it records it at 720.
Okay.
So it always looks worse when I put it up on YouTube, because I blow it up to 1080p for the videos and
Yeah.
it doesn't look fantastic.
But no, to get native 1080p, or even like if you upscaled to 4K and then downscaled back to 1080, it would actually look better than just 1080.
Right.
Or it should. I should know. Some technical monster out there is going to be like, well, actually,
Actually,
Yeah.
I need to get that thing on day
Actually-
one, because I need to jump on that YouTube content train, and
yeah.
I need to make videos with my face going like holding the Switch up like this and just being like, the Switch 2 cured my irritable bowel syndrome.
The Switch 2 is the reason I met my future wife.
Oh man. I don't know where my life would be going if the Switch 2 introduced me to a future wife.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. There's many
The
different life
Switch
choices
2,
there.
the Switch 2 was my conversion therapy.
There you go.
It made me straight.
Somehow.
Cerulean Invasion, nothing sexy about that game.
It's all mine now.
More for me. Now, my next news story kind of goes into a thing that I've talked about previously. Palworld's lawyers are challenging Nintendo's patents for the Pokemon games.
Yeah.
And Palworld Pocket Pair, they are claiming that the existence of certain games, Ark Survival Evolved, Pocket Souls, Craftopia, and games like Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider, Far Cry, Titanfall 2, Octopath, that they invalidate Nintendo's patents that they're suing Palworld over, because they're saying that the mechanics that Nintendo tried to patent have been in games for a long time. And that kind of goes back to a thing that I've said a few times, where I believe that the only reason that most video game patents exist is because they're not challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't challenge a patent, it's a lot easier to get it approved by the patent office. And the reason that, and I have said a lot of times that I believe that were video game patents to be challenged in court, a lot of them would be invalidated. And I'm really interested to see where the lawsuit goes, because I would like to see Nintendo's patents be invalidated for anything revolving around game mechanics. And I'd like to see this set a precedent where more companies are willing to challenge these things in court.
Correct.
Because I don't believe that any company, let alone Nintendo, should be able to patent the idea of, we own throwing a ball on the floor and having a creature come out of it.
Yeah, it's a concept. It's not like a property.
It's not like you put the work into creating such a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, because in terms of like this, we're gonna just refer to like Pokemon specifically in this aspect. Like any of the Pokemon that they have, obviously those are all trademarkable. The names are copyrightable. Everything like involving that IP is specific to Nintendo. They own all of it. But like the idea of collecting monsters, the idea of training them befriending them and training them to accomplish tasks for you. The idea of going from place to place to place, defeating more challenging enemies to acquire some type of goal. All of these concepts are existent in Pokemon, Palworld, as well as hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other games. So the idea that Nintendo's trying to patent ideas like that, like again, throwing a ball and either catching a monster or a monster coming out of that ball, and things like smooth transition between riding animals?
Yeah.
What? How? What? I don't even know how to. That you've patented getting on and off a mount is what I'm hearing. How is that up?
Getting on and off a mount in a particularly smooth manner.
How is that like how is that like I made a new kind of glove?
It's like patenting a method of putting on your glove.
Exactly. And it's like I can totally wrap my head around I made a new kind of glove. I can't wrap my head around I own the way you put that on.
Yes.
Like, so if I put it on a slightly different way, then I can own that?
Yeah. You owe me 25 cents every time you put your glove on.
And then where's the line at that point? We can determine where the line is with the glove itself. If it looks like the glove, if you have certain little notes that, whatever, just using glove as an example is just the first thing I thought of. But like, obviously we know how patent, if you're familiar with it, we know how patent law works. These things are a lot more easily defined. Methods, what method is patentable? Other than magic tricks, because I know magic tricks can be patentable depending upon its method, but like that's a performance art. That's not a product or a mechanic.
Right. And there's also a whole very complicated process behind the magic trick.
Yeah, there are things you would need to possess in order to pull off that trick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can, that's way more complicated than what we're talking about. So like getting back to this, it'd be like we've patented our video game characters getting into a hot air balloon via a ladder. If you don't get in via a ladder, then it's fine. You get in via rope, or you just fall in, or you just appear in there, it's fine. It's like, I don't understand how that was, like you said, other than it just being approved because no one challenged it. I'm not really sure how these things get by. I don't know, like, and I'm guessing that they're just sitting around waiting for someone to challenge it, and then just like, in the meantime, they just own it.
Yeah, because very rarely do video game patents ever get challenged.
Mm-hmm. But I have my own opinions on Pocket Pair. I wasn't the biggest fan of Palworld. I am confused by their success, but that's just me. They're a wonderfully successful company, and great for them. Everyone who seems to play their game loves their game. Everyone seems to like Palworld. Great for you. If that's your game, go for it. I am rooting for Pocket Pair in this one.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like them, I'm rooting for them in this. I think they're the ones in the right. I don't think Nintendo is in the right. I think they're in the wrong by trying to patent these basic kinds of ideas, which is what they are.
Yep.
Nintendo is patenting basic ideas.
I think if you're not allowed to copyright game mechanics, that you should not be allowed to patent them either.
Yeah.
Patenting should be kept for something that has a physical, like the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch is patented. Joy-Cons are patented because there's a whole mechanical process that goes into there was a whole research and development thing that went into making it.
Mm-hmm. And so because they developed it, They, well, I look at patents as you retain the rights over everyone. No one else has the rights to make the product that you have created for a certain period of time. I hope that's,
Yes.
So like, no one, if they develop it, then they're the only ones who deserve to make that product until the patent expires.
Exactly. And for a lot of those patents, it's usually like, I think it's like 15, 20 years.
Yeah. So what development went into I threw a ball and caught an animal?
Very little.
There's nothing there that anyone needed to, there's nothing, I should say, that anyone needed to build.
Right.
That's just there. I don't know. I'm rooting for Pocket Pair.
Yeah, so am I.
If
No.
they win this one, I will honestly say this is the first time they did not fail upward.
Right. Yeah, I've never been a fan of Pocket Pair as a studio, but also I don't like the idea of, I don't want Nintendo to win this.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I think it would set a really bad precedent if the court said that those patents are valid.
And I don't even want Nintendo to lose because I'm not a big fan of giant corporations. I'd rather have the underdog win. I just think Nintendo's in the wrong.
I want Nintendo to lose just because this is a big corporation using the legal system to bully a smaller company.
Fair, but I agree with that. My focus is on like, you can't be doing this. This is not patenting mechanics like this is antithetical to our hobby.
Right. Plus, I want this to be a precedent-setting case. Yeah. Where there's more companies challenging video game patents. Now, I have one more news story for you.
Oh boy.
And that is something that we're going to have an answer by the time most people listen to this podcast. And it's about the Elder Scrolls. And I didn't realize until a couple of days ago just how official the leaks were for the fact that Bethesda has said nothing about this. Even when screenshots from official websites are being leaked onto the internet. And people are finding stuff in the HTML code. I guess I should explain, there's a remaster of Oblivion coming out this week. There have been references found on the Bethesda website. There's been references found on Virtuos, who's apparently the developer making it. We have screenshots. There were meta tags in the website's HTML talking about it. They're apparently stealth dropping it sometime this week. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion is getting a remake, apparently in the Unreal Engine. And it's shadow dropping this week, according to everything that we know about it. Which is weird.
Huh.
It's weird because that's not really in Bethesda's MO.
No. Because how long did we know about Starfield before it released?
Very long time.
Yeah.
So early between Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 that Bethesda was like, we're not gonna announce things so early anymore. But I didn't know that they meant we're gonna drop it the same week.
Yeah, because we knew about Starfield for the longest time. We've known about ES6, I think, as long as we've known about Starfield. So the factor that they're doing this kind of might indicate that they're learning, that they're changing things up. And, well, let's be real. This is building hype. This is building mad hype. There is so much hype around this. And it looks good. Yeah, like you said, we have screenshots. The screenshots are fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you've played Oblivion, holy shit. I can't even hold myself back because like
And presumably it's going to be on Game Pass.
yeah, because it's Microsoft. Because they own Bethesda. So like
Yes.
yeah, so if it comes out and you just get it on Game Pass, you could just play it that way, you just keep your subscription up. Like I could see people playing this as long as they've played Skyrim. Or longer.
It's a perfect opportunity to start yet another playthrough of Oblivion you're never going to finish.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm hoping is that all I'm hoping is that the game is moddable. So at the very least, if they don't fix the absolute dog shit leveling system, that people can do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worst part of Oblivion was the level scaling. And there's a bunch of mods to fix that.
So are they going to include the level scaling as well?
I don't know. We know basically nothing other than the screenshots and that apparently that it's going to be on Unreal Engine.
Okay. Yeah, because that's fair. We have they haven't made any announcements.
I'm saying I hope that they fix the level scaling.
I'm just trying to like they're being weird about this, but in a good way.
They are being weird about it.
You know, it's not a bad way at all that they're being weird about this. It's the right way to build hype while still trying to maintain some level of like surprise.
Right.
You
know. They're going by that Five Nights at Freddy's hype building. Because what Scott with the Five Nights at Freddy's game, Scott Cawthon would literally leave little tidbits and like teasers in the HTML code for the game's website.
Okay.
That's actually where lore has dropped that was never revealed in the game.
Oh, really? It was in the HTML?
Yes,
because
in Five Nights at Freddy's in Sister Location, at the end of the game, the cast of characters escapes basically as one amalgamation of a robot. And when you find them in Ultimate Pizzeria Simulator, they're still there except for one character. And the breakup between the two parties was only revealed in the HTML of this Pizza Simulator website.
Huh. I'd have to talk to my resident Five Nights at Freddy's expert in order to verify anything you say.
Ask her about the breakup between Baby and Ennard. I'm sure she'll have a lot to say about it.
She'll probably go, "Oh my god,
where do you want me to start?
Huh?
Where do you want me to start?"
Exactly. And then I'll be like, "What have I done?
Why did I have to go down this rabbit hole?
Why did I do this?" Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But on that note, I think it's a good time to wrap up the show. Once again, you can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/MMO Fallout. You can find this podcast wherever podcasts are served fresh, hot, and ready. And the podcast usually comes out on Mondays for patrons and then Wednesday for everyone else. But until next week, I'm Connor.
I'm Hannah.
And I made absolutely no effort to cue up the music.
That's okay. We can fill a little bit of time.
There we go. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Mwah. Happy 420.